Listen, I'm easy to find. And listen, they can kiss my ass if they don't like it.
What's up, y'all? Nathan back with another quick video. This is not sports related, but I thought it would be an interesting topic to talk about. Um, I think it is a must conversation that needs to be had. Um, as you see the title of the video, my thoughts on what happened last night or Sunday night, excuse me, with the Grammys with Will Smith slapping Chris Rock. Um, let me start off by saying this. Um, I think one thing that I've learned as I'm growing, as I'm maturing, is that uh, what my parents have always instilled in me is that be careful of the consequences because you never know what to expect. Um, I'm not going to play the video. By now, everyone has seen it. It's now pretty much plastered all over the internet. There is a video I'm going to play at the end that I think is very profound, and it needs to be talked about because I think one thing as a society, if there's a playlist that I had on my YouTube channel, accountability. Let me just get off say here. While I understand where Will Smith was coming, why I understood why he did it. If she was being insulted, I felt as though Chris Rock went overboard with the joke, but there's a better way he could have handled that. I think even to the point you could see on her face where she was uncomfortable of the joke. Okay. I do think that could have been handled better. Where behind closed doors, you could have said, hey, that was uncalled for. I do think that there's a different perspective on it. I applaud. I respect Will for coming to the defense of his wife. I do. I've heard all these. I've heard all these guys, these clowns on TV, particularly. Some guys, not all of us, a couple guys, people. Excuse me. Let me back up. Let me scratch my record. I heard a lot of talking heads talking about, he should have done this or he should have did that. First and foremost, ladies and gentlemen, if you've followed Will and Jada's marriage, it's all over the place. It's basically an open book. I definitely think that there comes to it. I just think last night that was the boiling point. I don't think if I would never, vice versa. I don't care, husband or wife, roles reverse. I would not let my spouse go on stage and slap somebody like that. It's just not happening because one, you are at an event where there's thousands of people. And also too, again, I've said this when I was talking about with Courtney Williams a few months ago. You gotta you gotta move and you gotta think differently, because people are quick to create narratives and are quick to the plate, give you that label like, uh-oh, hothead, you know, that should have been handled behind closed doors. I I got to give my one of my favorite actors, Denzel Washington, Tyler Perry, Bradley Cooper, a shout out. But I thought it became a distraction to me. I've never watched the Oscars. I just feel like it's one. It's just something about the Oscars I've never liked. It's just like the Grammys. It's all about the optics. Thank you. I appreciate that. Thank you. Um, I just feel I just feel like he could have handled that differently. But I understand coming to the defense of your spouse, man or woman. There's no way that I'm not saying he couldn't, but I'm just saying there's a better way. Now, people, and it's funny that people have taken this situation and are bringing up stuff that happened a few years ago, where I think where Jada was with some other guy while they were still married. I don't know if they were separated at the time, but I'm just saying that I don't think we should use a situation to bring up people's past like that. And also, too, like, let's keep it real. How many times over the years, Chris, and again, comedians, we did it with Dave Chappelle a few years, with Dave Chappelle, and those that are in the transgender community, don't take his jokes too seriously. Like, come on now, where's? I just feel like I think it was like almost half a year ago. Now, what like I don't think we can't have it two ways. Like, I know for a fact that a lot of the comedians are going to come to Chris's defense. I know there's people that are going to come to Will's defense. Now, this is just me. Chris Rock got what it was coming. Was coming to him, because I think it was over the line. I thought it was he was poking the bear, and it was too much. Now, um, I remember it was an interview. I can't remember what it was. It was Chris Rock and Ricky Gervais, like Louis C.K. and Jerry Seinfeld, and it was something that Jerry in that interview had said something about. I can't remember, but it was just a weird. It was an interview, because I mean it was them basically. It was called the Talking Funny. I can't remember the clip, but it was something where he was like, you find that funny, but I'm still trying to find it, and I never will find it." It was something along those lines. Well, no. Well, it was like, you found the humor of it. I haven't found it, nor do I seek it. That's what he said. Because what am I saying? Chris Rock got what he deserved, what was coming to him. Now, I'm not sitting here. This is just me. I've never been a fan of Chris Rock. There's just certain comedians I just can't find funny. I don't find them funny. He's just one of them. There's nothing against him. Growing up, I've never found him funny. But because I just think that when you make a joke, particularly, and this clip really kind of sums it up, that I'm going to show y'all. I think where you make a joke about someone's condition and you don't know about it, I think that's a bit that's crossing the line. Now I've heard both sides. You know, uh, should he should have pressed charges on Will. He should have his Oscar revoked. He should have had the. Well, I've heard. We don't. My couple of things that were wrong with that after that. As soon as he slapped him, they should have went to a commercial break. They should have went to a commercial break. That's number one. Number two, it should not have gotten to that point. There were people to the point where you had Denzel mediating between him, Chris, and Will. I'm just sitting here like, huh. I just, I mean, and look, Will, the reason why I watched it because I wanted to see was Will Smith going to get the Oscar for King Richard, which is a good movie. Did a great job on that. Shout out to him. He did get the Oscar for it. I guaranteed that. I didn't guarantee it live, but I was like, I guarantee he's going to get the Oscar for it. I went on Instagram and apologized. Violence in all forms and is poisonous and destructive. My behavior last night at the Academy Awards was unacceptable and inexcusable. Jokes at my expense are part of the job, but a joke about Jada's medical condition was too much for me to bear, and I reacted emotionally. I would like to apologize to you, Chris. I was out of line. I was wrong. I'm embarrassed, and my actions were not indicative of the man I want to be. There's no place for violence in this world of love and kindness. Then he goes on to continue. I would like to apologize to the Academy, the producers of the show, and all the attendees and everyone watching around the world. I would like to apologize to the family and my King Richard family. I deeply regret that my behavior has stained what has become an otherwise gorgeous journey for us all. I'm a work in progress, sincerely Will. I mean, I think the apology was great. I mean, but again, in that moment, how would you have reacted? It's human nature. In your human nature, if you felt as though your spouse was disrespected, how would you have reacted? I understand that there's a better way to handle things, but I've also too there's certain lines that shouldn't be crossed, and I've noticed this is my opinion, as a society, we've crossed several lines. And when do we know? Okay, when is it? Okay, that was too much. That was close to the vest. When do we start saying that? When do we start calling like, okay, that was too much? Like, for example, right? I remember I watched Inside the NBA. Charles Barkley is one of my favorite commentators. For years, he would get on the women of San Antonio. Never, not one calling anyone out by their names, but just making fun of them, because they have plus size women down in San Antonio. And it became a running joke until a couple years, I think, not even last year, the boss at TNT was like, yo, man, like, you're done. You got to cut that out, because it's to the point where you don't know how somebody's going to react. I mean, he was talked about on the talk many years ago, but I mean, other than that, it's just be careful what you say and what you do, and think about your consequences. It goes both ways. Chris was in the wrong, and Will was in the wrong. Now, I was really surprised that Chris Rock has not come out and apologized. And I would like to hear what Jada has to say, because I know for her, I found that out that she had that condition when she was on the little talk, Red Table Talk, and it's the name of the show she has. I didn't find that out she had that condition until she brought that up. But in closing, they were both in the wrong. There's a better way to handle handle situations like this. This should have been handled off cameras, and I don't think this is going to affect neither of them. I think, me personally, I would look at them different. They're both in the wrong. What would you do if you felt like somebody like that, and you all know comedians, that's their job. They're going to push. They're going to poke at the bear, and just that's just me. But with that being said, I do want to close it out because I call her Miss Tarika. She Knows Sports was on CBS News. I thought it was really profound what she said. I kind of at this point consider her a mentor in a lot of ways. She's really helped me with shaping this podcast as recently. So I give her the credit for that. But I wanted to play this clip in front. I wanted to give her a shout out because what she said, and I also want to give her kudos for being not only open, but also being vulnerable, but being open to, because I didn't know this until today when I saw that she put on Twitter that, hey, she has the exact same condition that Jada has. And I thought it was good to hear from her perspective of the whole situation. So I want to play the clip, and then next episode, I'm going to go live in a few minutes. Kathy Engelberg. I've held off on this episode long enough. I got to get it out to y'all. That's going to be episode 15. But this is not going to be part of the on stream. This is just my honest take of how I feel about the situation, what occurred at the at the Grammys. But let me play the clip by Miss Tarika, and we're going to close it out.
So let's stay on the story. I want to welcome Tarika Foster Brasby. She is a multimedia journalist and producer.
Hold on. I don't know why it's that low. Oh, you know why? Because I got the wrong headphone in. Wait. Let's try this again.
With a special interest in this story, and she has alopecia. We've reached her in Hartford, Connecticut. Tarika, good to see you. Thank you for taking the time. Before we start, I just want to share a tweet that you put up. Here is what you said. No one, and I mean no one, can come on my tweets and talk to me about alopecia until you've had to cut your hair bald and worry about if people still find you beautiful without your hair. So I get it. I get why Jada felt some type of way. Guess what? Will was still wrong, period. Tarika, why was Will Smith wrong?
Well, I think that there is a level of discipline that anyone should have when it comes to physically touching someone else. I mean, I get the want to protect your wife. I get the want to protect your family. I get how that could have come off as offensive to you. However, you can't really just go around hitting people, slapping people, touching people. And I also think, most importantly, in that moment, yesterday, which was for most of us, for fans of Will Smith, for fans of the Oscars, this was a moment in which, we were ready to really cheer and celebrate Will Smith for the amazing performance in King Richard. And that kind of dampened, because today, instead of us talking about the well-earned and well-deserved Oscar, we're talking about his altercation with Chris Rock.
We're also just talking, we're just learning about the apology. He just apologized. You have seen it. Do you think it goes far enough?
I do in some aspects. I do think it goes far enough because it was a deserved apology, right? Like, I also feel that an apology should come from Chris Rock as well. At the end of the day, it is comedy, and everyone's, comedic appetite is very different. With all that said, things go two ways. And I think that it was smart of Will Smith, and it was genuine of Will Smith to offer that apology to Chris and to the Academy, because he does understand that his actions were wrong. He does understand that that's not the kind of person that he is. He's never been that kind of person that I have ever assumed him to be from, seeing his roles. I don't know Will Smith personally, but just never came off as that kind of guy, right? So I do think that he's genuine in his apology. But I also do believe that Chris Rock should offer an apology to Jada. At the end of the day, it is a very sensitive subject. Hair for a woman is a sensitive subject. Hair for a Black woman is an even more sensitive subject. A lot of times we are defined by our hair, whether or not how we wear our hair, if it's professional how how we're looked at in society's eyes for the standard of beauty. A lot of these things fall into the factor of hair. Unfortunately, it's very superficial, but it's still real nonetheless. And for someone who has to deal with a hair loss issue, it's not fun and it's not funny for that kind of thing to be joked about. Now, everyone has a different comfort level, Andrew. Like in my circumstance, it was hard the first few weeks. It was hard when I, cut my hair. I've cut my hair numerous times because my hair just won't grow. It was something that it took a lot for me to be comfortable and confident in wearing my hair bald or wearing my hair short, to where if I were in that position, I would have laughed, because I have gotten to the point internally where it's okay for me to laugh at those things. But we can't assume that everyone else is having that same level of comfort and have reached that same place in their internal struggle with alopecia to where it is funny to them, or where they do feel comfortable enough within themselves to take those kinds of jokes. You can't assume that. And so for Chris Rock, whether he wrote the joke or not, I've seen rumors that maybe he didn't write the joke. And that in either case, there is a level of respect for someone's medical condition. And so while Will Smith was big to apologize, Chris Rock should also offer an apology to Jada, in my opinion.
How do we move on from here, or how do we learn from this, do you think?
Well, I think there are several things that we can learn from it, honestly. Number one is, listen, I know that people have themselves at the mercy of the comedian when they're sitting in the front row. But I also think that in some aspects, there does need to be a sensitivity level to certain things. Like, I've heard, the Jackson ask, when does comedy go too far? I do believe that there are limits. I do believe that there are times where the joke is no longer a joke, right? And if you find yourself having to ask yourself, how hurtful could this be if I said this, then maybe reevaluate the joke, maybe reevaluate how the joke is told. I also think that we have to find a place where our standards of what is beautiful is not set to a specific standard, where one who does want to wear their hair bald feel that they're not, in the same realm or scope as someone who decides to wear their hair long. Our versions of beauty certainly have to be as diverse as our thinking. And I think that when we get to that place where we all feel, regardless of how we wear our hair, that it's really about who we are and how we portray ourselves to people and how we treat people. When we get to that point, then we'll be all right.
Tarika, you just said it so well. Thank you so much. That is Tarika Foster Brasby in Hartford, Connecticut.
I hope she's packed for the Final Four in Minneapolis. Anywho, look, I wanted to close it out with that. I mean, look, at the end of the day, comedians are going to be comedians, and there does need to be, the question does need to be asked: when does crossing the line? When do you evaluate? Okay, maybe I have crossed the line. But also too, you gotta learn how to, there's better ways to handle situations like that. I remember I did a video, I think about a year or so ago. Matthew Judon, he got on one of the Ravens reporters about him turning down the contract with an extension, a contract offer, and he threatened to leak photos of the reporter's wife. And I'm like, dude, because this is what he's reporting on, you're going to do that. There's a better way. There's a better way. We've got to handle certain situations. Because again, regardless of celebrity status or not, we have to move and think differently, because society and social media are going to create these narratives, and we have to be careful. So, y'all let me know your thoughts on this. I just wanted to just get it off my chest and say what I felt. Obviously on this, I'm hoping that we've now moved on from this, and at the end of the day, we just learn and grow from the mistake. Until then, I'm out. Peace. Stay up.
Listen, I'm easy to find. And listen, they can kiss my ass if they don't like it.
Bye.